When it comes to Canadian steel, more than 90% of exports go to the U.S. Ontario is the hub, home to half of Canada's steel plants. Billions of dollars in trade now in jeopardy, staring down the barrel of 25% U.S. tariffs.
They will be devastating, but challenging on both sides of the border, in fact, not just on Canada. The $20 billion of steel trade that's basically exposed to this idea.
Here's how the $20 billion steel trade broke down in 2024. Canada sent the U.S. $15.9 billion worth of steel last year, making it by far the U.S.'s largest supplier. The U.S., meantime, sent Canada $4.1 billion worth. And Canadian companies tell us they're already seeing canceled orders from Americans.
We certainly experienced a slowdown in the amount of orders that were being placed and reluctancy to continue with orders as usual. And not so shortly after, we started experiencing the cancellations, which I'm sure that a lot of Canadian manufacturers are also experiencing as well.
The Canadian Steel Producers Association represents 15 companies worth $15 billion. They produce about 13 million tons of steel products in Canada a year, employing 23,000 workers, jobs that are threatened if American buyers dry up in a post-tariff environment.
It's never fun having to consider that proposition, but I think one of our biggest priorities is making sure that we keep everyone employed and retain everyone for as long as possible.
Of course, everything could be stressful, but as entrepreneurs, we need to face the situation and try to find solutions.
But finding new buyers is complicated. Steel is heavy and therefore expensive to transport. Plus, there's already an overproduction of steel globally.
For the whole economy, I mean, it's a wake-up call to government. It's a call to action for business. Of course, businesses are scrambling. Investment is being delayed. There are concerns about jobs, and there's nothing good about this.
We know tariffs on steel will hurt Canada, and we don't have to look too far back to see it. President Trump implemented 25% tariffs on Canadian steel in 2018. A year later, in 2019, a deal was reached ending that trade dispute, but the temporary shock to the Canadian steel sector was clear.
It's enormously difficult, right? And this shows obviously that the chaos will continue, the goalposts will continue to move, and the U.S. administration, it doesn't appear, will be a reliable partner anytime soon.
Canadian steel producers say Canada must immediately retaliate, putting tariffs on U.S. steel and doubling down on buying and selling steel within Canada.
We need to find mechanisms immediately to use more domestically produced steel in Canadian projects. There's no reason why some of the largest infrastructure projects that have gone on in this country in the last decade did not use Canadian steel. That needs to change tomorrow.
New urgency from Canada's steel industry demanding Canada's reliance on the U.S. market must be totally rethought, no matter how this latest trade dispute pans out.